Delegate of Comoros stands before the General Assembly today to discuss the question of monitoring the financial impact of pandemic diseases. Now, we all know of the devastating impact that pandemics have on the world. H5N1, avian flu, cost $7.1 billion in preparation alone. H1N1, swine flu, cost China $10.6 billion, and SARS cost the city of Toronto $2 billion. So obviously, pandemics are a wee bit of a problem. And in order to effectively combat any problem, constant monitoring is necessary. As Sun Tzu once said, know your enemy, and you can fight 100 battles without disaster. This delegate feels that this resolution effectively and comprehensively addresses the issue at hand, and that through the measures outlined, the world will, quote-unquote, know their enemy. Just quickly going through the clauses in this resolution, clauses 1 and 3 are aimed towards surveillance and preparedness so that the effects are mitigated before they impact international commerce and therefore become impossible to monitor. Clause 2 is extremely important, and that creates a universal standard by which the financial impact will be measured, something of extreme importance so that effective communication between nations can be conducted. Clauses 4 to 7 discuss a new organ of the WHO, the IPEC, and subcommittees called RPEC. The Commission will take vital measures to monitor the financial impact of pandemic, including measures such as but not limited to, measuring both direct and indirect costs of pandemics, and reducing corruption in private corporations. Clause 11 also aims to reduce corruption, but also in governments. This is of utmost importance, not only so that people get the aid that they require. Please come to your closing remarks. Okay. But also so that losses in funds can be both accounted for and reduced. The delegate believes that this resolution is comprehensive and effectively addresses the question at hand. He therefore urges that the House votes for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Is the Delegate open to any points of information?
Any announcements?
The Delegate has opened himself to any announcements of information. The Chair will recognize 4. Are there any positive?
Chair and fellow delegates, to put it simply, we are losing the war on drugs. In 2010, the United States spent $15 billion on this war, nearly $500 a second. Yet, deaths from drug overdoses in this year were the highest they had ever been. Governments around the world have tried to stop traffickers and abusers by using incarceration through to execution. Yet all parties involved remain undeterred. Current methods simply are not working. The delegate of Italy has a better solution. This resolution proposes the creation of a new program under the UNODC, the United Nations Programme for Decriminalization of Selected Drugs, or UNPDCSD. This strictly voluntary program will ease all nations out of the old and outdated methods of criminalization and decriminalize certain soft drugs, such as cannabis. This will allow current addicts to seek treatment for their afflictions, rather than fearing all areas of the law. It will also help control the spread of diseases, such as HIV and AIDS, and increase the general health of every nation under this program. Furthermore, this resolution will help crack down on corruption in law enforcement concerning the drug trade, as this is a major source of corruption and makes governments work across borders to track down traffickers of drugs and make them feel the full force of the law. Italy feels this comprehensive resolution offers the best hope for a future where drug abusers are little to no harm to society and the power of drug cartels is broken. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Please come to order. Thank you. Delegate of Comoros, you may proceed.
Good afternoon, fellow delegates, most esteemed chairs, and most esteemed guests. We come here today to discuss the issue of cultural identity through promoting literacy. Today, people from Asia to Africa are experiencing a conflict, and that is a conflict between tradition and an emerging youthful culture of the modern world. This resolution seeks to solve this problem by promoting 3 main elements. The key elements are education, continuation, and tolerance. Clauses 1, 2, 6, and 7 of this resolution value education, and they do this by creating a task force on cultural preservation through UNESCO, and in doing so, it synthesizes the efforts to achieve this goal of promoting universal literacy. Causes 3, 4, and 5 promote the continuation of traditions in cultures and society. And lastly, cause 8 calls for tolerance. Delegates. This delegate realizes that cultural identity, he cannot emphasize the importance of cultural identity to economic, social, and human development in this day and age. This resolution may not be flawless, but it's the best we have. This resolution is a stepping stone to a better future, a more harmonious society, a more literate one. This is the catalyst to a better world. This is the morning ray of light that illuminates the world and paints it a brilliant and vibrant hue. This is the sunset that concludes the day, a day closer to realizing our dreams. Delegates, this resolution is a heaven of hope, a renewment of our commitment to the principles of tolerance and equality. This resolution shows our boundless optimism for humanity and our respect for culture. Delegates, this is our destiny. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Comoros.
Thank you. This delegate believes that this resolution is the best way forward to creating the nuclear weapon-free zone in the Indian Ocean. It addresses it in 5 main parts. Firstly, in regards to the pertinent question raised by the delegate of Denmark yesterday, this resolution considers the disarmament of weapons. This delegate draws the House's attention to clauses 1 and 3. Both talk about how the IAEA will also monitor this reduction. Secondly, in clause 2, through the inspection of military bases by the IAEA, it ensures the safety of smaller nations within the region. As to quote the delegate of Sri Lanka, they will not get blown up. Thirdly, the resolution effectively deals with the most contentious part of the issue, the Indo-Pakistan relations. It would be too naive to suggest that either nation sign on to the NPT. Both have been part of the non-aligned movement for the past 40 years. As Pakistan's policy hinges on that of India's, it comes down to how do we convince India? Surely not through economic incentives, where they are one of the biggest nations in the world. And secondly, we can't do it through sanctions, because to do so would be to commit diplomatic suicide. By asking both nations to sign a bilateral agreement, which will be guaranteed by the Security Council, this ensures safety within the region. And finally, adding another layer of complication to the problem is China's stance. In clause 6, it addresses them separately from India and Pakistan, because China itself is 9.5 million kilometers square. The Indian Ocean itself is nearly 1 million kilometers square. Since the theme of this conference is crime and punishment, would it be fair to subjugate...
Please come to your closing remarks.
Would it be fair to subjugate the entire mainland China to a treaty which is only about the Indian Ocean zone? Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate.
Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, and esteemed guests. The delegate is grateful and honored to debate this resolution as a whole, as the unity of nations of the plenary session and General Assembly. The issue that will be debated upon is the issue of agricultural development and food security, which is a crisis of not just one country or specific continent, but as the world in general. Delegates, the world is in hunger. Specifically, 33% of Africa and 17% of Asian population suffers from hunger. In order to solve this crucial crisis, the delegate proposes this relative resolution to the House, which focuses on the cooperation of relevant organizations such as International Fund for Agriculture Development, IFAD, Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, and programs such as WFP. Moreover, it emphasizes the productivity of food production through adoption of biotechnology, implementation of such as pre- and post-harvest strategies, and prioritizing of the commercializing of the agricultural sector in each nation. Furthermore, it concentrates and correlates the issue with the relative trading and regulatory protocols, such as reducing food export and taxes for non-commercial purposes, reducing and resolving the high tariff issue amongst the countries, and reforming of the framework of the existing prone areas of the LDCs. In addition, it proposes a feasible solution and realistic approach, such as involvement of small-scale farmers in local markets, conversion of rural areas to urban centers for trading and regulatory measures, and construction of such irrigation and other agricultural structures will be supported by relevant funding of the NGOs and by FADs.
Delegate, please come to your closing remarks.
Therefore, this delegate urges all the delegates of the House to vote for this resolution. Thank you.